Welcome to our Retire Early lifestyle. Glad to have you here today. Aren't you tired of watching videos about the same old overrated countries? You know, the countries that have doubled and tripled in price in 5 years and have become so crowded that they're now handing out fines to people for taking selfies? Yuck! They think their country is better than any other country in the world. I wonder why that is. I'll tell you what, you can take all the selfies you want in any of these countries we're going to talk about today. And the people will love to have you in their country. Let me repeat that. They will want you there as long as you remain respectful of their values and people. You will feel welcome. These countries are not overrated. They're not overpriced or overcrowded. Yet. That's why you can live in these countries on a budget of just $1,200 to $1,500. And this video was long overdue. Let's get started. Number 1, Hungary. Hungary has never been on the top 10 global retirement index, and it's probably because they do not fit the standard mold that the retire abroad media looks for in a country. That's good. Hungary is a pro-Trump country, and many people have said Orban is like Trump in many ways. Trump and Orban are very good friends. They agree on many of the same government policies. Orban has been to Trump's home for dinner in Mar-a-Lago. Hungary is pro-family country with pro-family policies. Hungary also has a low flat personal income tax of just 15% for the working people, and it also has other financial incentives for the family. Orban is pro-investment and puts Hungary and her citizens first. That's why Viktor Orban has been in power for over 14 years in the country. The Retire Abroad media is not going to list Hungary in its top 10 retirement global index. And that's the exact reason why you'd want to consider it. Besides the fact that it's just a great country with a lot of beautiful landscapes, fantastic food, friendly people, and it still has an inexpensive cost of living. Hungary is still very affordable. A person or couple can run a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment between $400 and $600 in Budapest, but rents and cost of living will even be lower than that outside the city. Hungary receives a generous amount of tourism, but not as much foreign residency because people don't think about it. Out of sight, out of mind, right? Tourism primarily comes from other European countries as opposed to the Americas, which still brings in plenty of tourism revenue. As long as the Retire Abroad media and vlogger gang keep Hungary out of their sights, it will remain a lovely, unique, affordable country for foreign residents. Here are more facts about Hungary that you might find interesting. Please just stop the video at any time to read more about this wonderful country and why it is underappreciated. But we appreciate Hungary and her people. Our next underappreciated country on our list is Argentina. Argentina is a lovely South American country that has had its share of ups and downs economically through the years, but some of our commenters have said it's getting expensive. But if you know how to do it, or if you've been watching our videos, then you'll be able to live in Argentina easily on $1,200 a month, no problem. The country is one of the most diverse language-speaking countries in all of Latin America, with a mixture of Spanish, Italian, English, and Portuguese spoken. Of course, Spanish is the dominating language, but then after that, it's anyone's guess. It really depends on the area of the country you live in. I've heard it's Spanglish in some areas. The cost of living is low outside the bigger cities, and the landscapes and all-around beauty of this country is outstanding. We met numerous Argentinians when we lived in Ecuador. Many were fleeing Argentina's high unemployment and supra-inflation at the time, and they were coming to Ecuador to find work, if you can believe that. President Javier Milei, with the help of several bailouts from President Trump, is tackling the economic instability, and Argentina is doing much better now and hopefully will continue to improve. Trump and Milei are best buds, by the way. For now, Argentina would be our go-to country in South America after Ecuador. We will always be partial to Ecuador as we still have very close family living there. The Retire Abroad media wouldn't dare list Argentina in their top 10 lists as long as Javier Milei is president. Milei's unconventional policies intimidate the globalists, and that's why we say, right now it's a good idea to move there and set up house for 1 to 5 years, which is about how long most expats stick around. That's about 75 to 80% of expats, mind you. But we think we could easily appreciate Argentina, and we do. There are other things that would have to be confirmed, though, such as clean drinking water running into the pipes, into the homes. That would be a blessing or a big deal breaker. Moving on to our third unique country. Number 3, Armenia. Most people do not even know that Armenia exists or where it's located on the map. Here is where it's located in the geopolitical sphere. Armenia is not in the European Union as of yet, and it remains a sovereign country. Armenia has strong ties with Russia and has Russian influences politically and culturally. This might be the reason the EU is hesitant to have Armenia joining their club. 70% of Armenians speak Russian as a second language. Armenia is very affordable and welcomes Americans. The people are very pleasant and curious about other cultures. In 2020, we traveled to Yerevan, Armenia, and spent an interesting 2 weeks exploring the city. We rented a very nice, spacious Airbnb for just $400. Here are some of those pictures of that apartment. You can easily find $5 meals in the big city of Yerevan, and there is big Russian influence in the food and culture, and it has just about the same type of weather. Armenia, like any of the Eastern European countries in Eurasia, still has areas of the city with the old Soviet-era apartment-style buildings. They're everywhere. If you stay closer in, you can miss that, but we like to get on the subways and travel around in the city so we can get a feel of the entire city, not just the main tourist hubs. Armenia is quite safe, but we generally never go out after dark. Here are some interesting facts about Armenia you might like to know. Just stop the video and take a closer look if you're interested. Moving on to our fourth unconventional country, Georgia. I almost did not list Georgia because it is becoming more touristy and expensive, especially Tbilisi. We spent over 2 months in Georgia and explored the whole city from one end to the other. Tbilisi has quite a large tourist hub right there in the center with nice spacious parks. When we went outside of that tourist hub, just a few miles, you run into the old Soviet-era apartment buildings. And yes, they still house tenants. They look run down and drab, but they are affordable, or we should say were affordable. When we were there, rents were between $250 and $500 for 2- and 3-bedroom apartments, mostly furnished. And no, these were not Soviet bloc apartments. Today, 5 years later, they are twice as much. This is what happens with tourism and foreign residency. Georgia has never been listed in the top 10 global index. Unfortunately, though, it's had its share of vloggers and pumpers in the last few years and has succumbed to price pressure. Georgia still has its own unique Georgian culture, and they are trying to become more decentralized from the Russian influence. And without going into detail, we say good luck with that. A Georgian computer technician that was working on our computer that crashed when we were there had shared with us that half of the government of Georgia is pro-Russian, and there are often conflicts in government because of that premise. Georgia has some of the best food we've ever eaten, and in 2020, you could still get a nice chicken or beef meal for under $6. We opted for Georgian cuisine when we went out, which was almost every day because it was such a good value. But many restaurants are Russian and Turkish and Georgian, so you have options. Georgia is begging to join the EU club, and when that happens, you can say bye-bye to the one-year visa-free stay for Americans. Yep, that's right. Right now you can stay there for 1 year visa-free in Georgia. Moving on to number 5 in our underappreciated countries is Paraguay. Paraguay is a landlocked country in South America bordering Argentina, Brazil, and Bolivia. Although rumors swirl that Paraguay is becoming more touristy and expensive, we're wondering what's taken so long. Paraguay was in the sights of travelers and would-be expats 15 years ago when we moved to Ecuador, and this country still has not garnered the appreciation it should. Cost of living is low in Paraguay if you stay out of the tourist hub of Asunción. Paraguayans are friendly people and gladly welcome newcomers to their fold. Paraguay surprises us with a lot of natural beauty, and for outdoor enthusiasts, it's a real wonderland of adventure, from national parks and fresh rivers to the numerous hiking and biking trails that abound in their natural habitats. Just like all of Latin American countries, Paraguay provides a slower-paced lifestyle and is no exception to the Manana culture. The family-oriented country is still not a big scene on the tourist map, and for that reason is the best reason to go there and hang your expat hat for a while. Moving on to our next underappreciated country on our list, Poland. Poland, like Hungary, has its share of tourism, but it's not by the retire abroad legacy media pumping it to the world and naming it the best country in the world over and over again. Both the Prime Minister and the President have good relations with Trump and have strong ties with the U.S. For this reason, Poland should remain off of the top 10 global retirement index, and the vlogger gang may not be promoting Poland, and it's going to keep Poland free from the devastations of over-tourism. We appreciate Poland. I mean, only when the retire abroad legacy media start listing and promoting countries do they become really overpriced and overrated. That's why we say stay away from the top 10 by the Rams. So what makes Poland special is the people, the food sovereignty, the affordability, and the wide open spaciousness and feel of the country. Poland actually is one of our favorite countries in Europe. The people lean conservative and most value marriage and family. However, that is challenging when the EU likes to have their globalist tentacles wrapped around social policies. Poland is still quite affordable outside the major cities, and we would have to say very safe compared to Portugal, Spain, France, or Italy. Actually, Poland is probably one of the safest countries in Europe. Moving on to our last country on our list of unique and nonconformist countries, El Salvador. El Salvador is a nonconformist, unique country that is underappreciated by many people. El Salvador, thanks to its Christian president, has really upped the game for the Salvadorians by making the country safe and secure for the citizens. Imagine you can walk down the street at night and not get stabbed to death or robbed by a thief on your way to your apartment. And it's South America! People are now saying that El Salvador is the safest country in Latin America. But wait, El Salvador is a nonconformist country, so then is it happenstance that they be the safest country in all of Latin America? Right. Think about that one. People also say that Bukele is the Trump of Latin America. We could see that. They're very good friends. Bukele has strong connections with the two sons that are about his age. We think they get together and talk about liquid gold and other cryptos. This is a very good thing. One day more people will figure it out. So here is something else to think about. Even though El Salvador is one of the safest and most affordable countries in Latin America, the retire abroad media won't touch it with a 10-foot pole. We say excelente. Really, El Salvador doesn't need artificial pumping from the Rams. They get enough of that from the YouTube influencers. El Salvador has gone up in price just because it does get a lot of tourism and it's not as affordable as it once was. So these countries might be underappreciated because they aren't and probably won't ever be listed in the global top 10 retirement index machinations. They're actually the most welcoming and loving of all the countries in the world. And there's a few others too we didn't mention here. And this is the biggest reason you might want to consider traveling or moving to one of these countries. Here's a recap of our best countries, and we give them one phrase about what we find the most endearing about each one. Here's a recap of the countries. Hungary, European affordability. Argentina, diversity. Armenia, very affordable. Georgia, excellent Georgian food. Paraguay, Manana culture. Poland, friendly people. El Salvador, safe and secure. Thanks for watching. Stay safe wherever you are and have a great day. Bye-bye.